You're smart, you're motivated, you want to do something big. You're on the verge of being a young boss, and we're going to help you get there. I'm your host, Isabelle Guarino, and welcome to the Young Boss Podcast, where youth is your power. How do you turn a traumatic experience into a powerful mission? This week's guest woke up from a dream with a product that would save lives. With a hard launch of Nightcap on Shark Tank in 2019, this founder partnered with her brother to build not only a life-saving product, but a community that normalizes the conversation around drink spiking. We talk about how to sell on social media, why you should never fix what's broken, and how to shoot your shot with Fortune 500 CEOs. I'd like to welcome Shirah Bernarde, founder of Nightcap. Let's dive in. Awesome. Well, I am so excited to chat with you today. I love the product, and I'm grateful that Stacy was able to connect us. So thanks for making time to come on and share all about Nightcap It.
Yes, I'm so excited. Thanks for having me.
I'm going to start us with some quick fire questions, and then we'll dive into all the juicy details of everything you have going on. So, would you rather scale fast or scale slow?
Scale slow.
Raise capital for a project or bootstrap it?
Bootstrap.
Word of mouth marketing or digital marketing?
Digital marketing.
What's your favorite thing about your job right now?
My freedom and flexibility.
Oh, love that. One book or podcast you recommend for every business owner?
The untethered soul.
And describe your business in 3 words.
Trendy, serious, and impactful.
Oh, I love that. Okay, you're out of the quick fire. Great job. I want to hear more of everything going on with Nightcap. How did you come up with this idea? And maybe share with our listeners, what is Nightcap?
Yeah, so Nightcap is a drink spiking prevention company. Our socials are Nightcap It, so a lot of people do call us that as well. We started 5 years ago. I had a friend that was roofied at the bar, and a few weeks
Wow.
later, I went to bed one night and I thought of an idea for a scrunchie that covers your drink in a dream when I was sleeping. And the next morning, I woke up and created a prototype out of my mom's stockings and an old scrunchie for my room and kind of just taped it together. And I sat down with my dad. I was like, this is what I thought of in my dream. What do you think about it? And immediately he was like, nightcap or top hat? And we went with nightcap. And from there, I was 16, so my dad really helped me call some people and like just people in the community about finding like a graphic designer and a seamstress and getting those first couple things off of the ground to really get the business going.
Wow. Well, first of all, it's always hard to hear when a business is formed out of a traumatic situation that happens to someone. But in this case, it really helped launch a product that's now going to help serve so many other women and girls and even men who are, going into these situations where we don't know what's happening and the dangers of drinking around all of these crazy people in the world right now, right? Make it very scary to go have a fun night out with your friends where you are trying to let loose and have fun and not be worried about your surroundings. So it turned into a positive thing, but that is crazy.
Yeah, it's a very, very sad situation, but I try to look at it through the positives and think about how many people we're helping protect and make them feel more peace of mind at the bar rather than being scared to go out. So, you have to, I guess it's all perspective.
Got to find the positive in it. Did you raise capital for this business? Because how does that work to go? You have this prototype, then are you bringing it to factories? And what if they rip you off? Like, what is that process like?
Yeah, so we patented the product. That was one of the first things we did. We did raise capital. The first kind of ways we raised capital was because my brother was going to Florida State University at the time, and he competed in four different pitch competitions and won all of them. So he raised us $15,000 to start the business, and then
Wow.
our parents, yeah, it was great. And I was like in high school, like I was like, I don't know what you're doing over there, but keep going. And my parents gave us some money to start the company, $18,000. My brother won 15,000, and then we started an Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign and raised $12,000 for that. So we raised a good chunk of money to start the company, and then went on Shark Tank. I think a year and a half after that, raised another 60,000, and then we also have another investor that gave us 100,000. So.
Oh my goodness. So it took a lot of capital to get this up and running. And what does that look like? Is that because you're having to create all of the different types of products, or what is that money used for?
Yeah, so the we never really needed like the money after Shark Tank. We really wanted the investor. So we were actually doing really well. We were very smart with our money and what we spent on. But we took our Shark Tank money and bought inventory with that. So that was really helpful because we needed it at the time. And then obviously starting the business, we used that money on different things. But I think the majority of it really went towards manufacturing and just getting inventory. So I feel like a really most of the money that we have spent on has been just making the product and packaging the product. But we like don't really spend much on advertising. We use social media, just organic social media, and that's how we get sales. So yeah, we've been really, for the most part, good with our spending and kept it pretty lean for the past 5 years. Yeah.
That's awesome. That Shark Tank experience, I'm sure, gave you a ton of notoriety, and you probably had a lot of people reaching out wanting the product, but also potential investors saying, okay, now I want to take a look at this too. So I'm sure many of our young bosses listening are like, I would die to go on Shark Tank. What was that experience like? Anything you want to share about that?
Yeah, it was a life-changing experience for sure. I was 17 when I went on the show, and my brother was 21, and we were during the COVID season, so we got to quarantine in a hotel room for 10 days, and we printed out different photos of the sharks and laid them out on the couch to really practice like our pitch. We were just like, just pitch with so many distractions, so we couldn't basically mess up. So we would like blast music and pitch and basically do everything possible to distract ourselves while still focusing. So we we were really committed to going in there and not getting made fun of. But it was a great experience. We went in there and got to deal with Lori. Um, the exposure was incredible, and the credibility is great from the show because before the show, it was really hard to get something like this for people to actually care about the product, and the conversation of drink spiking wasn't really a thing. If it's happened to someone, like nobody really talked about it before. So I think building this business and going on Shark Tank and being on TikTok, we've created like a fun solution to a serious problem, and that has really allowed people to like start the conversation and talk about drink spiking and like their experiences with it and open up. And I think that allows for more people to heal. So it's been great on both the business end of it, but also like the actual purpose of what we're doing. I think has really Shark Tank really helped get the message out there and normalize talking about this kind of stuff.
That's incredible. And have you since then been able to partner with other programs that are bringing awareness to sexual assault and these different things that are happening? Because I would assume your product is something that they would love to promote and love to be able to talk about. Has that opened doors in that way?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when we started the company, we didn't realize who we were selling, who are we going to sell to. So we thought, we would go get a website and throw up an Amazon page and people would just kind of buy for themselves, and they do, but we started to realize that universities and military bases and nonprofits were like our main customers, and they were ordering in bulk
Wow.
for, yeah, for students. And I mean, we have tried to get involved with whatever we possibly can. So we became a corporate sponsor of Rain. So they're a big partner of ours, and we've collaborated with them a bunch. They actually customized nightcaps and gave them out to like a bunch of college students. Um, and it's just been really cool because as a founder, I also get to learn a lot about what these organizations are doing, and just see like the change that people are actively making an effort to, like, end violence and really like change laws and things like that is super cool. So yeah, we definitely do what we can in that area, and we go to a lot of conferences like the Crimes Against Women conference, and we literally interact with people who are trying to end human trafficking, and like you learn
Wow.
so much about like how um, a product like Nightcap can literally save someone from craziness and traumatic experiences like that. So, um, yeah, it's been amazing to form partnerships like that.
That's beautiful. I think that it really is probably, it's so cool that this came to you in a dream and now it's turned into something that is literally and figuratively saving people's lives. And that's got to make you feel really good at, when you go to bed at night. So you should be really proud of yourself, I think.
Yeah, thank you.
I know you've mentioned working with your brother. How has that been? Do you like working with family? Even your dad was involved in the beginning. Is it truly a family business at this point?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of kicked our dad out pretty soon. Um, our parents like are not entrepreneurs. Our dad works a 9 to 5. He loves it. He loves like he just loves his job, and like having a purpose. And it was really our thing, Michael and I. So we ask him for help here and there, but um he's really there for when the sibling fights occur. Like, dad, this is what we're dealing with here. And then it always ends up being my fault, but I like working with I love working with my brother. It's great. We're really good at different things, which is why it works. I think if you're gonna go down that route of working with family, you have to be in your own lanes and doing separate things. Otherwise, you're like stepping on each other's toes a little bit. But yeah, I like it, and we work really well together. We've been doing it for a long time, and it makes us closer. So yeah, it's the best.
That's awesome. I work with my siblings too, and I agree. As long as everyone stays in their lane, it's amazing. So
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
little tip for everyone listening if they want to work with siblings. Take it from us. When it comes to failures and mistakes that you've had in business, what are like some big things that you're like, oh my goodness, I was not expecting this, or this was just a moment where it was just like, ouch, we made a big mistake there. Can you share with us a little bit about those times that you've experienced?
Yeah, I guess the common one that I usually say is spending a lot of money in areas that you don't know that work yet. So we've always been really good at organic social media marketing, and don't fix something that isn't broken. That's what they say. And we've tried doing that. So, I guess for us, it gets boring. It's like, okay, yeah, we've done TikTok, we've done Instagram. What else could we do? And those things haven't worked for us. And we've spent a lot of money in those areas. But I also think the biggest challenge for me has been being like a young founder and starting a company at 16 and realizing, oh, you're not supposed to know everything. And realizing that as a founder, you have to build up your confidence as well. And at 16, you don't really have much of that. So it's really hard to send emails, pick up the phone, have your own ideas, stand up for yourself, all of those kind of things. So I really say that my biggest challenge was like, and it still is, myself sometimes. So yeah, I think we can get in our own way a lot. And I guess being aware of that is super important.
Hey everyone, I want to share something that has truly changed my charging game. It's the 360 electrical. When I got this cord, oh my goodness, you guys, I'm always in need of a quick charge, whether I'm on the go in the car or at the airport. I want to be able to plug it in and 15 minutes later be on full battery, and that's exactly what this has done for me. It delivers 240 watts of ultra fast charging, so you're back to full battery in no time. It is perfect for those last minute travel emergencies. It's got a super long cord and it doesn't fray. It keeps everything nice and tidy, super easy to travel with, take with you on the road. So if you want to grab yours today, head to 360electrical.com and use promo code YoungBoss for 20% off your order. Now, back to the show.
Has being a young boss been a pro or a con for you in this business?
I think it's pro. I mean, I obviously pros and cons to everything, but it's gotta be a pro. Yeah.
Well, you would think with obviously the product, your avatar is potentially going to be younger. You never know. Everyone drinks, right? But it really is like that person who's at the college or at the university who is going to be sharing this with their friends and getting that word of mouth out there, and you being able to relate with that. I think that would have potentially helped you along the way, but also 16 is not 21. So that is very different. And that is so young for you to be going full blown into business. Did you go to college?
Yeah, I went and tried it. My parents really wanted me to go, so I mean, I applied to like all my dream schools. I think I applied to like 18 schools and like didn't get into any of the ones that I wanted to go to, and I was really discouraged because I feel like when you're right out of high school, everyone has a dream school and then everyone gets into it, and then when you don't, it's so awkward. And I was never good in school, particularly like in like the math and the science and all those classes, so my scores were terrible, and I struggled a lot with that because I was like, well, I don't want to just like go to the one, my last choice school. But I ended up going to University of Tampa for a year and a half. I absolutely loved it. I think like I'm a Florida girl, born and raised, so it was only 3 hours away from where I live now, and was I grew up 3 hours away from Tampa. So I I moved over there. It was like fun, but I realized like, I had gone on Shark Tank before I even went to school. So the company started to do really well, and I felt like I was giving I was giving up on it a little bit, and I felt like school was almost taking me away from like an important project. I was like, the real issue here is people are getting roofied as I'm in class, and like this class is not benefiting me. So I dropped out, and I think everyone around me called me crazy at the time, even my family. They were like, you need to stay in school. I was like, I can't do it. Um, so I I think as an entrepreneur, and I don't know, maybe it's just a me thing, probably not, but when people tell you not to do something, like you want to do it more. So they're like, don't drop out of school, Shira. No, I'm definitely dropping out now. So yeah, I left, but I tried it, and that's what matters.
You know what? I think that's a great story. And I think that so many listeners can probably relate to you because either they're in the midst of that where they're saying, my business is what I want to be spending the time on, not learning these classes that are going to just teach me how to do the business. I already have the business. Let me go full throttle towards that. So I think your story is really real and raw, and I appreciate that. So I think it's good. I know you've talked a bit about marketing and using social media for that. I feel like your guys' social media is so much fun. It's so creative. Share with me a little bit about the strategy and how you kind of determined, okay, these are the right social media platforms for us and these are the wrong ones, and how you make those fun videos or concepts.
Well, I think with social media that I've realized recently is that it's always changing, and I'm no expert. Like, truly, I'm not. I am a consumer just like everyone else, and I know what is attractive to me. And I think that, as someone who is Gen Z, I'm 22, and I know our attention span is short. It's 1.7 seconds. We don't want to be sold to. And we want relatability and connection. And I think that what we are doing right now and what we have done is pretty much all of that. So, I mean, we started out just taking the product, putting it on drinks, putting a viral sound to it, and that's what was working in 2020 when like people were blowing up and businesses were blowing up. Like all you needed was a 8-second video showing the product and people were ordering it, and that's literally how we got on Shark Tank. We did like $40,000, or helped us get on Shark Tank, but we did like $40,000 before we went on Shark Tank, like a few weeks before, and that really helped get like a deal and everything. It showed the validity behind it. And we kept doing that. So we would just post those videos, they would go viral, and then you had to pivot. So when I dropped out of school, which was in 2021, I realized, okay, now I'm going to make it my full-time job to become like a little content creator on social media. And I would take everyone behind the scenes of maybe like a day in the office, or like come with me to public speak, or come with me to, shoot these pictures for the website. And I would just like show people everything going on. I would talk about what is drink spiking, or like just basically everything about the business, and show a little bit into my life. And I think that really resonated with people, to know like the story behind Nightcap and how, we started the company. Was just really like everyone connected to it, to that story. And then I think, I still kind of do that, but I've kind of leaned away from that because I honestly am so busy that it's really, really hard to just consistently take content of yourself. But now it's more so the spiking my friends' drinks with Swedish fish to show them how easy it is. So, going around with candy and literally showing people this is how easy it is for your drink to be spiked. It can be water, it doesn't have to be alcohol. It happens to men as well, not just women. And educating people and showing them like, this is a real problem and you need to stay safe. And sometimes not even throwing a nightcap in the video, because sometimes I just want people to be safe, and like I don't want to sell them. Like I just want them to understand that it's a real issue. So what we found from those videos is like just people commenting, craziness in the comments, just being like, I've been roofied by my friends and my family members. And we've really like learned from our customer that a lot of this stuff is happening from people that we know. So not only are we like, educating people on the platforms, they're educating us too. So we're learning from each other, which is really cool. But that, yeah, I think if you could take anything from that, I think like keep it simple and keep it educational. Like, yeah, if someone's learning from you, I think they'll remember you.
Man, it sounds like what you're talking about. And I love that concept of you're not selling to the customer. You're literally educating and showcasing what could happen to start a conversation, to create buzz. And now people obviously will click the profile and say, well, what is this? And now they want to know more. And now they see the product and they're going to buy. But you didn't have to say, and buy this right now. Like it's that behind the scenes marketing where you're able to just create the community and get to the sale still. You're still getting what you want or need, but also you're giving them what they want to need, a place to feel heard, a place to get educated, and entertainment all the while. The videos of you spiking the French drinks, they're kind of fun to watch, like, oh, she did it again. Mm-hmm. So it's really cool. It's a great strategy that you guys have going.
Thank you. Yeah, it's so fun. I really love it. And it's fun to be able to, like, now it's fun to be able to talk to your customers, because it's not like you have, a retail store where you're interacting with people all day long. Like, I have no idea who's getting these products. A lot of times I meet people and they're like, oh, my dad got me one of those, or my cousin. And it's cool to see people that actually, it's cool to hear people actually have them, because we've almost sold 1 million units, and it's like, I don't even know where these things are going.
Wow.
But yeah, you get to like, when you interact with people online, it's a cool feeling to know that, they're in good hands.
In regards to that, where can your products be bought?
Yeah, so we have a website. It's nightcapit.com. Amazon is great, and then we're in Forever 21. But I would definitely lean more towards the first two. Yeah.
Very cool. How did you get that deal?
Well, funny story. Um, well, I was at a conference 2 years ago, and it was a retail conference, never been before, but there was a panel, and there were four women on the panel about talking about women empowerment. And, I realized that after the panel, they had walked down, and they were just kind of standing there. And a lot of these conferences and shows, they want you to feel like the speakers are better than you, so they put them up in like a room, or they lock them in somewhere where you can't access them because you're not as good as they are. So this particular show, they just kind of walked off, and I was like, that's an opportunity. So I walked up to the CEO of Forever 21, and I was like, that was amazing. She was so inspiring. I literally love her. And I said, this is a nightcap. It's a scrunchie that covers your drink. And she said, let's get this in the stores. And so I took her email, and I took her email, followed up, and then we got launched in all 400 stores, like maybe like 6 to 8 months after that. It took a little bit, but I think following up is really important. But it was a great story. And honestly, like whenever I get a little bit like imposter syndrome or feel like no one's answering me or just a little down, I think of that story because her name's Winnie Park, and she just like gave me that opportunity when she didn't have to, but also she just is the sweetest person in the world, so I love her.
I feel like you are the embodiment of literally a young boss and an entrepreneur, like taking those opportunities. So many girls were probably sitting in the crowd, or boys too, sitting in the crowd and being like, oh, that would be cool to go talk to them. But they just sat there on their hands. And you getting up, going out there. We always say, ask and you shall receive. If you don't go talk to them and bring your product, you're never going to get on the shelves. You did that. What's the worst that happened? She says, cool product. Have a great day, sweetie. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay. But you took the chance and you won because of it. Like, that's amazing. So congratulations. That's incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's a good point to think about, like, what is the worst thing that could happen, because the worst thing that could happen is you feel embarrassed, and I don't find embarrassment to be that big of a deal. Like it's really how much energy you give to that feeling. Like, yeah, I mean, you could be embarrassed for as long as you want, but everyone else forgot about it. And I don't know, it just like you literally miss, what do they say, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And my mom always said, like, you don't ask, you don't get. So yeah, I mean, it's always worth a shot. I don't know why. Like, if you want to do something, I think, like, you have to think about, they started where you are too. And just because they have these titles doesn't mean they're mean people or, judgmental people. And I actually had a conversation with Winnie about this, and I was like, you are the CEO of Forever 21. Like, you are the sweetest person ever. And I just appreciate her for that, because she's so genuine. And yeah, I love her.
That's incredible. Well, the same could be said about you, and one day in 20 years, when you give another young boss an opportunity, you're going to be like, this is what full circle looks like.
Yeah, that's awesome.
In that regard, what would you say are 3 tactical tips you could share with our listeners who are getting started on their entrepreneurship journey?
Yeah, tactical tips. I mean, I love to put myself in really uncomfortable situations. And I think the more that you do that, the more that, the next time, like, your Winnie Park walks into a room, you will be ready for it. So, like, walk into rooms that you feel like you don't belong in, because it does get a lot easier. And you start to realize that you're there for a reason, because you feel called to those rooms or those people. And um, that's it's almost like exposure therapy, where, like, you have to do those things in order for it to ever feel normal. Um, so that's one. Two, I would say, just start, like, whatever you're doing, just kind of get it going, because you're always, if you don't start, you're just not going to. If you don't take the first step, there's no, like, I think, what was it? Who told me this? You're never going to be ready for anything. So like, if you know, if you know you're never going to be ready for anything, that makes you ready for everything, because there's no right time, essentially. So, I mean, that goes for everything I do too. You know, there's projects and things that I feel like I'm not ready to do, and I just kind of throw myself into them, and you're like, oh wow, that was shocking. And you always learn something from it too. So, um, and the third, I would say third thing is, allow yourself to learn, and don't be so hard on yourself that you don't know the answer to something. I still like don't know a lot about certain things, and like, use your resources. We have AI, we have YouTube, we have TikTok, we have, you know, people we can follow and mentor us on these channels. And you could literally search someone's name in the podcast app and learn everything they've done, and like follow exactly that like strategy. Or even if they didn't have a strategy, like, you can learn so much from consuming content. So yeah, just be open to learning, and like, we were never given a pamphlet of what to do, which, yeah, I think just allow yourself to kind of absorb.
That's amazing. Honestly, I feel like 6 years of you working hard at this business, you've probably learned so many more lessons than just those three along the way. But those were amazing tips that I think our listeners will really enjoy and be able to understand and take action on those, because